Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and this incredible move that we've seen over the last couple days. So if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So what we've seen transpire over the last couple days is, a incredible move by Bitcoin all the way up to around 13,200, and now we've retraced back down to around 12.7. So one of the things that, if you follow this channel, you've been with us every step of the way. You were here when I made so many videos on the 20-week moving average and the importance of it, as well as here, and talking about how this is our critical level of support in a bull market, and that if we continue the pattern that we saw during the last market cycle, that we would see a slow move back up to 12K, slower anyways than this one, and it was right, and we just made this projection based on the last market cycle. So if we go back and look at the last market cycle, this was our pattern here, and just to remind you, if we take the bar pattern and just go from go from right here and go all the way over, then this is what we get. And then when we take this to the present day, so let me zoom out, and we'll drag this all the way up. So when we take this to the present day, you can see how well it actually lined up, and it lined up incredibly well. And this is where we are so far. Now, one of the things we said, right, and this went back for the first accumulation range that we saw a while back, was that these patterns are good and all, but they will not last forever, right? So it's not like it has to play out the exact same way indefinitely, because if it did, I mean, it would indicate that we would go to like $300,000 or something in 12 months or something, which obviously I don't think is going to happen. Now, where we are currently is if we're in this pattern that we saw during the last cycle, the move to the local top, back to the local bottom, or the prior local top, which corresponded to the 20-week, back up to the local top. Now we've blasted through that, despite the fact that last time it had us returning to the 20-week moving average. So it's possible, right? It's possible that we don't return to the 20-week in the short term. However, you always must be ready for it, right? And this applied over here as well when we were very bullish up at 11.6, and the 20-week was all the way down at like $9,700, $9,800. We said over here, you must always be ready for the 20-week. And here again, we must always be ready for it. The nice thing now is that the price of Bitcoin is fairly significantly above the 20-week moving average. And in fact, if we take a measured move and go all the way down, we're approximately 17% up from the current price. Now, the first thing you should know is that this is the new normal. So don't think of this as like the house's money in a sense. If you made a calculated investment in Bitcoin and it's worked out for the better, don't think, oh, this is just the house's money, let me go blow it on something. No, this is the new normal. Get accustomed to the new normal and continue from there. So we're in one sense, we might just be continuing our little bunny hills on a slow move back up to a sustainable 20K, right? These bunny hills that we've had, that last a few months. We come down something like this, okay, and so this pattern could theoretically continue, and if it does, right, it's nothing to write home about. It's just business as usual. This really isn't that significant in terms of being above the 20-week moving average. We're still not even that far above it compared to some of the peaks we've seen in the past. So to some degree, as I've said before, we are still playing in the sandbox, and it's good to get accustomed to these types of moves, because when the time comes and we're nearing the end of the market cycle, you're going to want to be ready. And when we talk about that, being ready, and it all goes back to what I use, right, which is the risk metric in terms of dynamically DCAing buys and sells. Okay, so when we talk about the risk metric going from 0 to 1, and then starting sells at a risk level corresponding to what your risk tolerance is. So if that's something that interests you, remember we do talk about that on the public channel a lot, but you can also find it on the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. So check it out. This is what I use to trade momentum shifts in the market, the risk metric, and you also get access to a few other things like an alerts channel, a private telegram, etc. With that said, the key thing now to look out for, right, is, well, what's Bitcoin going to do next? Is it going to come back down? Is it going to test 12K and then continue on? Or is it just going to continue to go up? Or is it going to go sideways, right? These are the three main things. Obviously, it could also come back down and go back into this reaccumulation band that we've been in for a while. The nice thing, though, right, is that even if it does retrace 10%, we're still well above the 20-week moving average. So there's no immediate concern, right, on like a daily time frame. It's possible we drop 20% in a day, but on a weekly time frame, it's still fair game, right? I mean, even here, you can see in 1 week, we dropped approximately 20%. So on a weekly time frame, going to the 20-week moving average is still fair game, so you should not get too far ahead of yourselves. Obviously, most of us are bullish, right? We all think, or a lot of us think, that Bitcoin's going to go to six figures over the next few years, but you need to be cautious when we get too excited over short-term moves, thinking that it just has to rally up immediately and to continue up to 20K in the next month or so, when it's likely not going to do that. So what we're going to look for now, of course, right, is, well, if Bitcoin can hold this level, then we might expect to see some of these altcoins start to rally, okay? Bitcoin starts moving sideways. And even again, as I said in the live stream today, even if it comes down and moves sideways, altcoins could still rally, given Bitcoin's distance to the 20-week moving average. So let's say Bitcoin retraces by a few percentage points, maybe it goes back to 12K and then back up and goes sideways. Altcoin paradise, right? Up in the short term, alts will bleed probably. Down in the short term, alts will bleed. Depending on how far down we go, alts could bleed really heavily. But as long as we go down only a few percentage points, 5-10%, and then move sideways, there's a good chance alts can rally again. So this is where we are in the market cycle. Business as usual, 20%, approximately 20% above the 20-week moving average. As I said before, you can see when we're above the 20-week how quickly sentiment can change, right? And we said this down here, that as long as we're holding this, the sentiment can change on a dime. And you see it, like we already went to a higher local high. This local high over here was at 12.5. We hit 13.2 today. So the same thing stands, right? As long as we hold the 20-week, there's a good chance that the market sentiment can quickly turn back around and we continue climbing our ladder back to 20K. We'd go below this on the weekly time frame. It's the bad news bears in the short term, okay? So far, we've been doing a great job of holding the 20-week. Seems like there's a very good chance here that we're in the very beginning stages of a multi-year bull market. So just be cautiously optimistic, manage your risk, and we'll be here every step of the way. So if you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.